Howdy folks, welcome to the brewery. Time for Extractaganza number 34. Mangrove Jack's Mexican Cerveza, as opposed to any other fucking Cerveza. But anyway, I've done a few Cervezas of late. I did have a bit of a whack of it, and actually it's stretched out over a while, thanks to the twang files. But anyway, this is where we're going today. I'm going to pop inside and do this. I've actually got the house to myself, so I'm going to go in the kitchen. Just makes my life a little bit easier. But anyway, doing this fella, he's out of date. I really didn't think I'd have this can here for that long. And looking at the date on that, it was probably out of date when I bought it. That'll teach me for not checking the cans, won't it? And just relying on the home brew shop to have fresh stock. But anyway, I'm doing that. Going to do a split batch. I'm going to do very simple. I'm not adding anything really to this. I'm going to do it as per the instructions. Kilo of dextrose. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to split it. I'm going to do half a batch with dextrose, and I'm going to do the other batch, the other half, with this stuff, agave sweetener. So this is sugar made from blue agave plant in Mexico. I've had this in the cupboard for a while, sort of wanting to use it. I don't know whether it's fermentable or not, so that's going to be interesting. I'm hoping it's fermentable. I think it's just simply a sugar replacement. I don't think it's like a, like a stevia or a, equal and stuff like that, where it's got where it's unfermentable. I hope that this stuff is actually fermentable. I can't imagine it's not. Blue agave is used in distilling quite a lot, so I've fingers crossed that's all right, because if not, we're going to have half a batch of beer that's going to be absolutely no good. But anyway, as I said, I'm going to get this in the kitchen, in the sink. I'm going to have myself some lunch while it's doing that. I'm going to get myself set up. So you'll see me very shortly in the kitchen, and we'll get this fella together. Righto, we found our way inside. Now, so because I'm splitting this, I'm doing things a little bit out of order than you normally do. I've got 18 litres of water here in the fermenter. That's been treated with sodium metabisulfate, Campton tablet, and a little bit of calcium sorbate, a bit of vitamin C powder, just to knock out any chlorine. That's been sitting now for about 20 minutes, somewhere around there. So this is all good now. We've got all that bloody crappy chlorine out of there, so we're starting from a nice clean base. I'm going to mix me extract up in this pot, little 6 litre stock pot. I've got 1 jug full of hot water, so I did over 1.5 litres boiled water in there, which I'm going to use to mix up. I've got a jug over here which has just come to a boil, which I'm going to use to rinse the can. I'm going to find another cloth that I can use so I don't burn my fingers when I'm doing that. All my details on the bench here, underneath bloody containers, one so it doesn't slip and one so we don't burn the bench. Anyway, pot, stirring spoon, sanitised, everything's sanitised. Okay, can straight out of the water, has been sitting in the sink in the hot water. Mangrove Jack's cans have got a ring pull, like the Black Rock, I like. So I'm going to get that in. Off. Now I'm assuming this can's going to be a little bit darker than it should be because it's a bit older. Right. We will see. And you see how much easier this extract is going to work with when you've got it nice and softened up. It thins up quite a lot. I can get that in. It dissolves nice and easy. top this can up with boiling water. And that'll help us get everything out of that tin. Just run the spoon down the sides of the tin. That'll get all that extra off. Make sure we're not missing anything. And but everything that's in there is flavour, sugar, alcohol, all things we want in the beer, not in the bin. So in she goes, and tin is perfectly clean, beautiful. Sell it back to bloody Mangrove Jacks, I could use it again. Anyway, we'll mix that in. So this should have me somewhere around 4.5 litres, which is going to get me about 22 and a half in the total in the fermenter. By the time I add my dextrose, the agave into each side, we should get, you know, not too far under, you know, that 23 litre target. Now let's get that in there. Now, if you're doing this at home, you're just doing a straight batch. Get it all in there. First thing, get it all inside the fermenter, not all over the fucking side of it. But as you know, Little John can't get anything in there bloody straight away. So actually, that's showing about 21.5 litres there. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to go to 22 litre full volume, you know, 11 litres for each split batch, just to bring the volume down just a little bit, just to concentrate the flavours a touch. You know, Cerveza is a fairly light brew. So that's all good. I'm just going to make sure I've got this mixed together. And as I said, you're doing this at home, you're doing the full brew, you're going to take your kilo of dextrose and you're going to mix that in there. Well, you would have mixed it into here. While that's hot, get it dissolved, and then in here, mix it all up, and you're into your ferment fridge, and you're going to, you know, keep your yeast on it. Like I said, we'd keep this one pretty simple. But right now, because I'm splitting the batch, I've got to get this into 2 separate fermenters. So I'm going to go and grab me 2 fermented King Juniors. And get it transferred. We'll have a look at this sugar going in. Rightio. So, because I've got to get my sugar in here, the easiest way to do this right now for me is going to be to dump it straight in the fermenter, and best if we use the right bag. Bastard. It's going to be a bastard. I haven't done this for a while. And then I'm going to dump, well, there's 21.5, so 10.5 roughly litres off this fella, straight into there. And then once that's done, I'll seal it up. I'm just going to shake, give it a bloody good old shake, help mix that sugar through. At the end of the day, it doesn't overly matter. The yeast is going to find the sugar in it anyway, but I want it mixed in so I can get an actual gravity reading. So I'm going to fill both of these up. I'll catch you back out in the garage once that's done. I'll grab a gravity reading, and we'll see what we're wrapping up at. Righto folks, tasting day. We've just had a bit of a bloody storm go through the last little bloody hour and a half or so. I think it's gone. Power seems to be secure. We had a little blackout, but anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here to do some bloody drinking. So we've got our 2 bottles here. Now we're making sure we've got these right. Okay. There we go. Dextrose version here. Now these have been, this was actually due to be tasted again, bloody continuing fermentation in the fucking bottle. This is happening a lot with these bloody pressure ferments, I'll tell you. I'm a little bit fucking over it, to be quite truthful. One has got to question whether pressure fermenting actually stops the ferment from completing properly, because this is happening over and over and over again on extract brews. Now, it doesn't, and I don't get noticed at anything else because I don't bottle other brews. Normal beers go straight to kegs. But so often the Extractaganza brews are doing this, and I think it's become a really big problem, more of a problem since I started doing pressure fermenting. I don't think it was an issue, certainly not as often previous to that, but like these are done. They're bottled at finished gravity. In this case, as they were at 1010 for this Dex version, 1012 for the Agave version, which is just as lively. We're getting a pour on, but let's try. Let's just try and get a pour into a non-nucleated glass and see if we can get bloody something a bit more sensible. Okay, that's certainly better without the nucleation stirring it up. She's still fairly carbonated, but anyway, let's not get caught up on that just at the moment. That's not what we bloody really want to be focusing on. But I will get these out of the way. Now you try to do just something nice and simple, like fucking taste of beer and. I'm going to get them just out of it's off to the sides. They're not bloody blocking us up. I prefer to do the tasting in the normal glasses and nucleated glasses, because you can actually they get a better look at what they look like. Because these glasses tend to make everything darker, and you can't actually see through them probably because of the bent glass, so you don't get a good idea of the clarity on the beer. Anyway, so I said, yeah, so this is the Dex version, went down to 1010. Ferment was initially 11 degrees. I let it rise over a few days. So 2 days in, I raised it to 12. 2 days later, raised it to 13. 14 on day 6. Day 8, I raised it to 18. So I was just trying to push the ferment along a little bit, and keep the yeast at 34.70, 1 pack dry each into each half of the batch, which is 11 litres. So a gram a litre. No, sorry, 15 grams on each. So 1.45 grams per batch. So yeah. Deck's at 110. The agave finished at 10.12, and that was interesting because I wasn't sure how that was going to go, whether it was going to ferment or not. There was some conflicting information. Some information said yes, it will ferment. Some other stuff said it won't. I think it very much depends on the process involved in making that agave sweetener. So, but she fermented. It's not quite as low as the Decks. That being said, it did start 1 point higher. The deck started at 1039. So 1039 down to 1010 for an ABV of 3.6 in the keg. Okay, they've both got a quite rich toffee malty sort of a nose. We all know generally what that associates with. They're certainly darker than one would expect for a Cerveza. They were clear until I poured that bloody last little bit on the bottle. There's obviously, and again, that would indicate there's been that little bit of fermentation, because there's a tad of sediment got into that bottle when that was certainly not done. So maybe they've dropped another point or two of gravity. That's alright, we can probably go from those now. They've bloody settled a bit now. That's a nicer looking beer. Let's just pretend we poured them easy. We've fucking waffled on and bullshitted. Let's get into some bloody tasting. I said, yeah, there's quite a strong toffee nose. Flavour's a bit nondescript up front initially. No real great stuff going on. A little bit of malt, but that's about it. Yeah, it's fairly, nondescript. It's fairly flat line. Very low malt. Possibly, a tiny little bit of bittering. Again, it's not a lot. A little bit of back end heavy toffee note. Twang itself is not super evident, but that toffee note on the back end is clearly that twangy vibe. It's not savage. But it's sort of there, but realistically, it's overall, it's just a flavour across the whole beer, where it's not quite right. Like, it's definitely not a Cerveza sort of feel. It's got a Mexican vibe to it. I will give it that. Almost like a higher, you get into things like a Modelo and stuff like that, where it's a little bit deeper. It's a bit more deeper malt than your typical Corona and Sol and that sort of thing. But Corona and Sol is where this beer is aimed at. It's where it's meant to be, and it's well beyond that. It's not a totally undrinkable beer. It's not not what I'll call a Cerveza, but it's not shocking. Uh, let's go the agave version. So again, half a kilo of agave in the batch, so the same as a kilo in a standard, 22 litre batch. I said it carried a little bit extra OG at the start, and that could have just been simply, well, no, it's got to be down to the sugar because there's nothing else because it was standard batch. Yeah, so started 1 point higher, finished 2 points higher. As I'm assuming there's a little bit extra fermentation. It's probably sitting 3.738. But as it sits with that glass, it's got a nice head. They're both bloody. They're both holding head. There's no lacing, but they're both holding the head. This is still fairly active carb-wise. Okay. That's interesting. That's real. Again, fairly nondescript flavour-wise. It feels like a much heavier, creamier body. That is definitely much lighter. And assuming that it's still the 2 points regardless of any continued fermentation in the bottle, that's quite a significantly heavier mouthfeel for 2 points. But on its own, individually, it's not overly heavy, it's just heavy compared to that. It's got a weird little back end flavour, but overall the actual twang is probably a little bit less in that. I think that extra body from there, obviously from a little bit of sugar that hasn't fermented, is hiding it a little bit. It's still there as an overall thing, but there is less twang, certainly than a lot of kit beers. This is 10 weeks old, bottled on the 5th of September. So it's had plenty of time to condition and settle. And it's clearly done that. And I've got to say, I mean, it's not savagely twangy. It's there, but it's not bad. It's tolerable. It's not, it's not really wrecking everything. There is a beer there you can drink with that little bit that's there. Again, it's not a Cerveza. As a Cerveza, to rate this kit as per what it is to be a Mexican Cerveza, you got to give it 2.5 out of 5, because it just doesn't get there. Just as a beer in general, 3, maybe 3.5. It's not, as I said, it's not offensive. It's not a great beer, but it's not offensive, and it's certainly better than a lot of kits that I've tried over the last couple of years, and probably has some of the lowest level of that twangy effect that I've had from a kit beer. From that perspective, it's got a little bit of a plus. Again, I assume the darkness of the actual brewers come from the malt just being not fresh and aged a little bit, and it's darkened in the can, which seems to be a continued nasty problem with the tins. But yeah, I can't give this a thumbs up, but I won't give it a thumbs down either. Yeah. Funnily, I've not done the Cooper's Cerveza. I've done the Cooper's Cerveza here in the past. I've done it myself back when I got back into the brewing early on, and I did the Cerveza and it was a very light, when it was a well received beer here by the relatives. I've used it to do Kingsley's passion fruit Cerveza, and it produces much different. But that being said, I can get my Cooper's tins from the local Big W that has a very good turnover. There's plenty of kit brewers in my area, clearly, because the tins turn over pretty quickly. So I can get good quality, fresh Cooper's tins. These fellas, Mangrove Jacks and all the rest of them, I can't get so readily, and I can obviously, I can get hit with older tins. So that appears to be the colouring issue, and it could have something to do a little bit with the flavour. It's not going to help. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The agave sugar, I think, would be a personal issue as to whether you preferred it or not. I think to some degree it's adding a little bit of a body and a mouthfeel that you'd get, say, using maltodextrin as an addition into the brew. But as a complete, fermentable sugar option, it certainly works. And price-wise, I can't remember what the prices were like, and I don't know how readily accessible it is. I know I got it here at the local Woolies, but I think they were clearing it out because they probably wasn't selling. If you're in a bigger Woolies, you're probably going to get it without too much trouble. And I can't think of the price, and I'm not going to look it up right now. It's certainly not something I'd say don't use. Look, I can't say one way or another which one of those I prefer. I said that's lighter in body, and it's probably a little bit crisper. That's a bit more rounded, and it's got a little bit more character in it. But they're both very much on par as far as the overall quality goes. Give me one of them separately, and I've drunk them, reasonably without too much trouble. So I'm not pulling too many faces. But they're not bad beers, not great beers, but not bad beers. There's probably enough evidence in that if you can get hold of your Mangrove Jacks tins and you can get them fresh, that's probably going to make a half decent beer. And I wish I could get tins fresh to try them properly, but this is the reality of what a home brewers face buying stuff from their local shops or buying it online. It's a chance you take, but the reality is you've got to look at your tins. You've got to check your bloody freshness as much as you can. I've been told that generally across most of the industry, 2 years is the expiry date on a kit tin, so therefore checking that, work on the basis that 2 years from that, before that bloody expiry date is when it was made. So if you've only got 12 months left on there, that's a 12-month-old tin. So work on those numbers as best you can. Go through every tin in the shop if you need to. Remember, they will put the fresh stuff at the back on the shelf if there's other stuff there. So don't just grab the first can you come across. Dig to the back. You may get yourself a can that's 3 months fresher, and it will make a difference. But anyway, for now, I'm done. If you've got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom as always. Patreon to the channel, big thumbs up. Thank you guys for your support. Again, the experimenting and playing around the channel is purely because the support that comes from the patrons. If you're interested, there's a link down below. Check it out. Subscribers to the channel, thank you very much. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below, and hit the notification so you get a notification when there's a new video. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. It's down there, bloody underneath. But for now, Extractaganza number 36, Mangrove Jacks Mexican Cerveza. Let's call it slightly over a pass. 3 out of 5 in general. So that's it. So next Extractaganza brew is the Cooper's Recipe of the Month Mr. Beer Kit, the craft kit, the little 10 litre pack, which is a red IPA with strata, and that'll be along in about, well, it won't be a month now because I'm a bit behind, so it's only going to be a couple of weeks away. But anyway, until then, I might see you on another video. We might be brewing beer, we might be drinking beer, we might be talking beer. Until then, good brewing.